finger, one finger, one finger. It doesn't matter. Will still be there. If you have doubt, if you find something suspicious, you just use one finger to find out what the nature of the pulse is. Okay? It's okay. But even you find something there with one finger, oh, this is one's interesting, or short or something. Otherwise, and then you can try your 3 fingers too at the same time. The sick pulse will always be there. This is a sick pulse. The problem, they have a problem. So the pulse will always be there, no matter in the morning, no matter in the night. Yeah?
With this pulse, maybe more with the...
Well, he's loud enough.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so if you feel this pulse, this bean formation, or maybe more with the bird's beak, will you feel that on the side of the radial artery also, or is it just on top?
On top.
Only on top.
On top. On the side is something else. On top. Okay. What else?
The herbs we listed are general guidelines as to what you need to use, what kind of herbs. You need to use the herbs that break up the stagnation and the swelling, and also use the astringent combination to shrink it up because of the swelling. But there's no specific one formula for all, short bean pulses, because it depends on where it appears. The herbs will be a little different because the herbs enter different channels and different locations. So for specific prescriptions, we'll talk about that in part 3 of the Pulsynergy. But in general, if you find this kind of pulse, you need to use these type of herbs, the breakers. Okay?
Okay.
Guideline.
There was an interesting case that many years ago, there was a lady in my office, and she told me that in Taiwan, she had all the stomach problem, and she's been traveling all over the island, and nothing can help her. I checked her pulse, and nothing but two of them, like this, on both guan. So I asked her to lie down. I give her 2 needles on the 朱三里. 朱三里 is how much? 几号? Stomach 33? 36. And I needle in and twist it. And she released some gas immediately. Boom. And then the pulse is gone. Everything is gone. Yeah, just gas. Because the pulse was so soft, I didn't worry. I don't think it's a cancer or something. Just, it's gone. Very fast. Okay, this one. Okay, short. It's a little bit bigger than the bean, and a lot bigger than the bird's beak, than the pen tips. Okay, the short pulse is yangming. Yangming has to be floating. That's from my 6-qi pulse system. I didn't invent it. I borrowed it from the Huangdi Neijing, which I suggest you study a little bit. It's very, very interesting book. Even it's been so many thousands of years, it still gives us a very good information, a lot of good information. So there's the yangming. So we have 2 yangming, right? It's the name of the channels. We all understand that, the stomach and then the large intestine. So yangming got something to do with them. And also, remember, yangming means surface. So if we have this pulse on the right cun, not only the respiratory system, but also there's got to be some skin problems. And the yangming was floating, always floating. That's the definition for yangming. So floating the pulse, which means you can feel the pulse jumps when you touch the surface gently. And usually it's quite strong. That means a lot of dryness there. That's very important. We have 6 qi, right? The wind, the coldness, the dryness, the heat, the summer, whatever. And the yangming, this pulse like this. Usually we don't have 3 of them at a time, just this one. That means dryness in the upper respiratory system. That means allergy. That means skin problem. That means the large intestine also dry. That means the conclusion is dry. So don't use any dry medicine for him, no matter what the complaint is. What's the dry medicine? What's the herbs that's too dry? Huh? Ganzhu? What's ganzhu? 哎，听了都是什么？仓鼠啊，仓鼠， Yeah, they're so dry, don't use it. So instead, on the contrary, what kind of herb we should give it to this guy, no matter what the complaints may be? No, I have to moisten it, dryness. Moisturize, yeah. Salty too, for the fire, but we have to moisturize the yin, 石膏 and 甘露饮 or 麦门冬汤, something like that. So this pulse always, short pulse always supposed to be floating and forceful. That means dry heat. Okay, like the engine is out of lubrication, it's too dry, so temperature will rise up. And that always gives a problem with the large intestine, the lung, the respiratory system, and skin. So if it's become hard, it can be tumor or cancer. Yeah. Usually it doesn't happen 3 of them at a time. So this is not this graph is not a complete design, right? It's just the shape. We don't know the jump yet because it's not saying here. So if the jump is hard and fast or strong, that means what? That means what? Heat. The more heat, then the stagnation. And the stagnation can be the result of the excessive heat because it's all swollen inside. So we use something cooler for that, huh? To shrink it, or to use something astringent to shrink it back. So the herb, I designed the 2 of them. Oh, it's very interesting, huh? Cold breaker and hot breaker. Cold breaker is 三王不流行. This for cold means for the cold condition. Okay, if it's no excessive fire, just simple blockage, like the lady, her period hasn't come for 3 months. It's all stuck inside. How do you know the lady has her period is stuck inside, not coming out? Or it's because she's weak, or it's because she's not in the good hormone, or just pure stagnation? That's easy. You can just watch here, the 内关大陵. First, you check the temperature in the 大陵 area. I don't know number. There's piece pericardium? 7. And you check the veins here around the 内关 area. If it's dark and green, well, her period is dark and green and stuck inside. If it's red, usually we don't see a redness here. If it's a pale blue, that means her period is cold and also stuck in there. So you want to get rid of you want to make sure the period comes in on time or what, you can use the cold breaker. But make sure she's not pregnant, huh? And hot breaker, the hot, this means the condition is hot, then we use this stuff to destroy the swollen condition. It's made of Xuanzhen. Xuanzhen is the black shen, so it's cold and salty. It's good for clearing fire. Why do we use salty medicine, salty herbs for the fire, not cold medicine? Why? Water? Water clear the fire, right? Yeah. And what's the next? 哪里去? Huh? The cold breaker, okay. 那个夏枯草，不是 hot breaker， 那个哪里去？夏枯草 and 槐花. Actually, I designed this hot breaker to stop the stroke from happening. For high blood pressure, they have a lot of heat inside. Sometimes I'll tell the patient, hey, your body is like a volcano about to burst. So much heat, so much fire in there. You can check it easily by my the blood pressure system, which will be discussed a little later. But anyway, if the blood pressure is a little high, the heartbeat rate is high, definitely there's a fire. Or the blood pressure is very high or something, then prevent it from getting a stroke. And for lowering the blood pressure, we can use this hot breaker. It's very good.
So question,
Yeah.
how do you know From the pulse only, if the swelling or the blockage is cold, due to cold or heat, so we can determine if we use the cold
Yeah.
breaker or tolerant.
Yeah. How
Do you
do you
guys
decide?
know?
How do you?
How do you know if it's a cold type of blockage or hot type of blockage? By the jump.
By the
right?
jump,
Right now
yeah.
we're talking about shape. So when you can determine the jump that couples with this pulse, so which one is the hot type of swelling? What's the jump like?
In charge.
Very expanding and very pounding, very strong. That's the heat type of stagnation. And how about cold then?
It's just a dead. Just be there like this. Is it hard? Of course it's hard.
It's hard,
You
but
cannot destroy it, but it doesn't jump.
It doesn't jump very much. The
Just stay there.
amplitude is low.
That we call big stagnation, blockage. There gotta be something inside, but not with the expanding fire or inflammation or something. It's just being there. So we use something to destroy it. There's gotta be some, should be some symptoms.
If the pulse shape is bean-like,
Mhm.
or a bit bigger, and if it's hard, don't you think it's more heat? If it was cold, wouldn't it be just
No,
more
there's
thin?
different kind of heat. Thin is different kind of heat. I mean, different kind of coldness. This coldness means it's not moving. It's been there just like there's a rock in there for many years. It doesn't jump, but it's still there. It's not cold.
So
It's blockage.
then you don't mind using warmer herbs? for
Yeah,
that?
a little bit. If his fingers and toes and all the circulation are showing you that it's cold, we use something like 四逆汤 to push all the system move better, like most 20% or 10%. All depends on your area. If your area is cold, 四逆汤 is very useful. I don't know about San Diego. Seems to be warm here. No, wintertime is cold, huh? Where were we? 我讲哪里？啊？ What? Yes?
If you have the bean pulse on the same position on the right,
Mm-hmm.
expressing dryness in the lungs,
Mhm.
but then you have a lot of congestion in the
Yeah.
sinus.
That's
So
a
you're giving herbs to moisten the magandal.
uh-huh.
So is that going to cause more moisture?
No. It won't.
Just make it come out.
And we have used astringent as well. We have a combination, not just one herb. I'll show later. 我在讲什么？
Her question is, if there's dryness, right, do you use the intonics to moisten the lung? But Jimmy's strategy is no, because the dryness is caused by heat. So what he will do is he'll use heat-clearing herbs to take care of the dryness instead of using intonics.
Yeah. And please remember, the short pause is not a sign. It's not two-dimensional. Not like this. Okay, this is a short or something, right? Actually, it's three-dimensional. It's round. It's solid. It's three-dimensional. So when you check the pulse, you move your fingers. You find, oh, this is something suspicious under it. You can move your finger like this to find out if it's dome shape or something like this. It's three-dimensional. It's not just a two-dimensional. It's three-dimensional. Just like exactly like a bean under the skin. Okay? If the bean pulse doesn't go away after treatment or after a long time, a period of time, there's got to be something wrong. Okay, be careful, huh? Okay, 这是什么? Oh, convex. Okay. Any questions so far?
How long do you expect for the pulses to change, like the bird beak and the bean?
In a week.
After.
If you treat it correctly, should be over in a week. Okay, the next one is convex. So convex is a little bit, that's just a term. It's bigger than the bird's beak, than the short, than the 那个 beans. It covers the entire width of your fingertip. So it's the entire length of a section, 寸, 关, or 尺. So it's bigger and more close to the surface, floating. So how do you evaluate that? Just by checking the entire feeling. You can First, we take the pulse with 3 fingers. If it's not good for you, you think that the information from each finger is too complicated, you can use only 1 finger from beginning to the end. Okay, like this. Okay, this is the pulse. 3 fingers give you too much information, so you can check just 寸关尺 or 寸关尺, whatever, 寸关尺, individually, and you will find something like this. If you find something like this, that means there's something blockage. There's some blockage in there, and most of the time, the convex pulse means more floating and more expanding. That's bigger fire than the previous ones. This whole group was discussed. Huh? Okay. And the jump, usually forceful, indicating excessive heat, expanding the vessel. Oh, if it depends where it happens. It can be anywhere. The drawing is on the middle, not necessarily in the middle all the time. Can be 寸关尺, left, right, anywhere. So if it depends on the position, then that will give you the idea what's wrong with the inside. If it happens on the left one, like said here, what? Oh, here. If the left one means what? People will ask me, why do we need pulse diagnosis? The modern technology is so advanced. We have MRI, PET. We can see every detail of a human body. Why do we need pulse diagnosis? Because the machine cannot tell you your emotional condition. It cannot tell you you have anxiety, or you have depression, or have the other way around, right? But we can. If the right one has this, that means this guy is a little bit adjustment. I'm sorry, left one. Agitated and so frustrated and all those stress out. Not anxiety. This is not a pulse for anxiety.
Emotional ups and downs.
This is up. Affective disorder in a positive way. This young, in a young way, means he's...
Yeah, in a young way. What he means is people who are,
Oh, okay.
they have liver fire, they're shouting, they're angry.
Yeah.
He means in positive way, meaning excess, young excess, not
he will
positive
hurt somebody, he will
constructive
fight with
criticism.
somebody, his temper is quick. Don't marry a guy with that pulse. It's too what?
So when we go to those marriage fairs, Bob, you're checking this pulse, right?
When I hire someone,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm checking that pulse.
no such pulse is
This
good?
guy,
Don't hire.
those people.
Don't
But
hire the depressed ones either.
yeah, but people with this kind of pulse can be a good general, can be a good leader, can be a good manager, but not good lover, because you're gonna fight all the time. But it's fixable. Don't worry.
That's a one-night stand pulse.
One night. It's so positive. This guy can be, the lady can be so positive and can be dangerous. Okay, don't have a gun pulse. What's the? What if it happened on the right hand? What if the concave pulse, concave and forceful on the right hand? What does it mean? Reflux, and H. pylori and the stomach fire, whatever. This inflammation. Let me give you a new. It's not new. It's been going on for 1,000 years. I just started using them recently for all kind of menopause condition, the stubborn regurgitation, the acid reflux that cannot be stopped by the Tums or all those medicines with the purple pills. It's the Umei one. You try it next time. Stubborn heartburns and stubborn heartburns. They cannot be cured by any medicine. Reflux, regurgitation, herniation, and pain and stomach problem. You can use the Umei one for that purpose. Not 100% because it tastes awful, like 25% or what. And also, Umei one is also good for the convex pulse on the left guan for the liver fire. Liver fire means also means like an engine. The lubrication is gone. The fire, the temperature rises, and he will have a lot of emotional conditions. So to lower it, we have to tonify the yin. Remember, tonify the yin to lower the fire. So Wu-mei-wan can be a very good choice because taste what? Marijuana? Huh? Tastes very sour. And sour stuff is good for liver and good for yin. So why do I say yin? Because according to the shape, it's floating. Like a round roof or something. So it's empty inside. That means the yin is deficient. So we need to put something into the yin to correct his problem. Wu-mei-wan will be a good choice. Remember that, huh? Okay, what's next? Oh, that depends on condition. This is too complicated. So like this, okay? This floating. So there's some emptiness in there. So it can be empty. So I have to fill it up. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
From the peanut gallery.
The what?
From the peanut gallery. That's a private joke.
Okay.
Okay, listen. If that Yang-Ming pulse is pushing down and it's hard, then the yin hasn't been burned up yet.
Yeah.
That's excess heat.
Yeah.
But if it gives way, then the yin is burned up.
Yeah. But most of the time it's indeficient. Because no yin, so too much yang. It's out of balance.
So you think it's more of it's usually a type?
Yeah. So if it's, but anyway, you can use Wu-mei-wan because there's always a gap here between up and down. So something is missing in there. So we use Wu-mei-wan to fill it up. Or anything else like, usually, for example, if it's liver problem, liver hepatitis or whatever, or the high DNA, people with high liver DNA, I have something like a 10 billion or something. Liver DNA, it's not enzyme. You never heard of it? You're out of style. It's an evaluation number a number to evaluate your liver enzyme too, but it's not GOT-GPT. It's a DNA, it's a potential crisis for liver. People don't have any feelings, no symptoms at all. So like we say in Chinese medicine, I learned from school, we have to 辩证论治. How do you explain that? Differentiate the symptoms to make the decision to treatment. But what happens if there's no symptoms? Doesn't matter. They don't have any symptoms at all. Even liver cirrhosis, they don't have anything. Not to say there's DNA stuff. They can be 10 billion. I've seen people with 10 billion. Yeah, deep and wiry, or something like that. Depends on his emotional condition, living style, eating style, drinking style, everything. So it varies a lot. But anyway, I use 味子 or something to cure that. 味子, if you have dealing with some kind of liver problem, if you don't know much to do, just use 味子if the patient can take it because sour.
Are you talking about actual liver problems
Actual
or talking
liver
about
problem.
emotional? Okay,
Not emotional. This is for real organ problem, not
Okay.
emotional.
Can you tell us some more diagnoses that can be said to the patient when you feel a wiry pulse on
What?
the left guan? When you feel a wiry pulse on the left guan, I just put down one, hepatitis,
Yeah.
actual liver. Anything else?
I have to draw it. It's complicated.
No, the Western diagnosis of a liver. So is cirrhosis a wiry pulse too?
No. It's more complicated than that. This word is a little bit confusing. What is it? Hepatitis. And like I experienced, that the Western doctor says hepatitis is only limited to the virus type A, B, C, or something. Not we have a term in Taiwan is not non-A, non-B type. So they're all limited to virus infection. Actually, in Taiwan, we learned from the hepatitis means a lot. Not only from virus, can be from what? Drugs? Lipidor? Chemicals? Like heavy metals? Chemical is the worst. And from drugs, from the other even ordinary drugs, liquor, paint, anything. Anything can be called, the damaged liver can be called hepatitis. Tylenol is the worst. You don't read the label? And not to say all those, drugs and things. They're all damaging the liver. People smell the glue in Taiwan, those young guys. They do here? It's cheap. And it's legal, but it works. Make you feel so high. But I have seen so many young kids with a very high liver enzyme by doing that. I have to check a group of those from a jail. And then the pulse all like this. I learned a lot from them. People with drugs, with poisonous stuff. Oh, I learned how to treat a hepatitis from a guy who was a painter. It's not the art painter. It's the spray, furniture painter. It's so poisonous. Yes. Yeah, heavy metals, and I'll draw a picture for you later when we use the projector. The heavy metal will have some dark lines on the gum, and the pulse will show too. But it's very difficult to verify because it takes a lot of money to do the exam, the blood test and hair tests and stuff. Okay? Oh, so the convex pulse is no good. It means something empty inside most of the time.
Okay, this is the herbal prescription, and for those of you who follow Jimmy, we purposely left out the percentages for you to fill in. So this is a practice for you.
Emotional liver,
emotional liver problem and actual liver problem. This one is the convex pulse. This one is the wiry pulse. So what are the percentages of the formulas to use?
And I'm going to draw a picture for you. Actually, I've seen a lot, the combination of these two pulses. They happen together. There can be many varieties. I'll do a drawing later. So what do you think? If we're doing something for his emotional condition like this, how much percentage? The percentage for you guys who is here first time with me, I'm doing 100 gram. Put different herbs into a jar for the patient. So that's 100 grams. So how much percentage for each formula as you would do? This 加维逍遥散这什么讲？龙胆泻肝汤、益肝散。Or you have other options, or you don't want either of them, or something? Huh? 50, 25, 25. Okay.
40, 20.
40, 20.
How fast the pulse is.
Yeah.
To determine the E-GANs.
Yeah. E-gansan is for speed, for the heartbeat rate. If it's fast, we usually use more. If it's not, then we just simply equal it. How much?
45, 20, 35.
What? 45, 30, 35, 25. Okay? Yeah?
Yeah. No, 20.
Any others? Any other options? No? Oh, so which one is best? A, B, C? Or none of above? You choose A, huh?
What will you choose?
I didn't let them answer.
They choose A.
Everybody?
You want to see them raise their hands?
Actually, they all okay. They are good, yeah. Because those medicines are nice.
So
But-
can you tell us your general principle in how to designate how many
Yeah.
percent?
There are many
What's
other
your
things to be
guideline?
considered.
Yeah, how do you?
Like politically,
Politically, he means how much the herbs cost. The cheaper,
yeah, there's something else to be considered. Like
the
first,
better.
龙胆泻肝汤 is very expensive. And it's very bitter. Some of your patients might not like it. So usually I use 20% because it's in this treatment, the 龙胆泻肝汤 is not the major role for this. It's the 焦维下药散 or 那个益肝散. So sometimes I even don't just skip the 龙胆泻肝汤. It's not that important in this condition. Okay. Because whenever there's a stagnation, no matter qi or blood, there's got to be some stagnation. Even this pure emotional condition. I always like to use 焦维 is my habit, okay, just for your reference. 焦维下药散 30%. 那个益肝散 30%. Okay, I will use some kind of blood movers like 膈下足鱼汤, 20%. 膈 means diaphragm, 下 means beneath, underneath, or below. So this underneath, so that's where the liver is. So I use something to clear the dirty blood inside the liver. How come we have dirty blood in the liver? Because we eat, we drink, we take medicines, we take medications. All things are dirty for the liver, are bad for the liver. So we have to clean it anyhow. So what's the left 20%? Because his major complaint may be sleeping disorder. If there's a parasites in this patient's body, I will use 乌梅丸. How do we decide there's a parasite? We'll talk about later. But if it's not, just pure emotional, I can use 20% of the 合欢皮.
Why do you choose not to use chai hu jia long mutong?
Chai hu what?
Chai hu jia long mutong.
Oh, it's useless. That's why. It's not good.
You used to use it.
Not good enough. If the emotional condition doesn't change after using it, I'll give you a good tip. You just use 100% of cuckoo medicine, the blood movers. That's it. I mean the leech one. It always works. The best medicine for cuckoo is the 水蛭 leech. But don't use it for too long, huh? Use 10% is okay.
Oh, so you don't use just this one, you use 10% plus this other?
And then in my office, I don't have the circulation sanjiao. You can buy the circulation sanjiao, which includes the leech one. I use other medicine just plus, like leech one, 10%. I mean, just leech, 10%. Or you can use the medicine, the herbs that Tina already made for you. Leech one, this is the same, right? The same thing.
So you're saying if you use this formula and they come back in a week and still very emotional,
Yeah.
forget the formula and use 100%?
Yes.
Okay. Of circulation sanjiao.
Yeah.
Move their blood.
Yeah, they'll sleep better, like a baby. This is a treatment, not like MVM or something you have to take it for a long, long time. When the blood has been removed, his condition will go back to normal. But there's a lot of other factors that must be taken into consideration. But there's a divorce, there's an affair, there's the loved one passed away or something like that.
When you say cuckoo, you mean cuckoo is like manic depression?
I mean, everything. Everything here. Oh, okay, what else? Oh, actual liver, this is complicated. Liver detox is one of them, okay? 龙胆泻肝汤 is just a guide, not too much. 柴胡清肝汤, yes, fine. But actually, if the liver enzyme is high, which is not very commonly seen around this area, but in Taiwan, it's about 25% people will have that problem. So I learned a lot from that. Liver cirrhosis, liver cancer or something. But I would like to use, if the enzyme is high, use like 20% of 位子. The rest of them can be your choice. Wei zi is good for liver enzyme, for hepatitis. And you must use some blood mover too. And majorly this liver detox. Don't ever forget it.
Even in the case of cancer, the pesticides?
Yeah, cancer is different story. This is just swollen, inflamed liver. Weight is 20. Liver detox at least 30.龙胆泻根汤 just forget it. 阁下足浴汤 or 水蛭。阁下足浴的20。柴胡清肝那个20。五味子20。五味子20或30。This is general combination. You have to vary a little bit when according to the real condition. And you have to stop this guy from doing something bad, like taking drugs, marijuana, Lipitor, something like that. 好，下一个，快点，来不及。讲不完。不用，你先把下一个讲完。Oh, it's been an hour and 40 minutes.
1 week, 2 weeks?
I don't know. Depends on the condition. If the guy's that big, it takes longer. I have so many patients that big. Cannot fit in a chair. Tent. Tent means empty. Wow, that drawing is beautiful. It's empty because I make it, this area look so thin and not like the rest of the arteries. It's so empty inside, like this. Can be anywhere. There's no support under it. So you call tent. Just like the, like this paper. Make a row. And for example, if this is pulse, it's so empty inside. When you press down a little bit, there's nothing in there. So it's empty. We call it tent. So that's why I keep saying, when you check the pulse, when you touch the pulse, you touch it gently, slow, gently, very lightly on the surface, then you press down. When you press down, the more you press, the harder you find, the more resistant or jump you find, and then that's not tent. If you touch it and it just disappeared, seems to be dead, nothing's moving, then that's tent.
This is the formula for a tent pulse, the general guideline to help boost up the emptiness underneath.
That's empty. That means the body is empty, exhausted. No energy, nothing. But this also depends where this pulse appears. Can be anywhere. Most of the time it's on the right cun. So when you start taking the pulse, you check his right cun, be gentle and be light.